All right, part 2 here is learning target 8B, solve percent equations. Now I want to make one comment right here in kind of this space here if I was teaching you today is that if you can get these faster than using a proportion, that's fantastic. Like if I said to you right now, what is 50% of 8? I'm really hoping you don't have to go write an equation and go through the calculator and all of that. 50% of something is just half of something. So what would that mean? Well, it means you take 0.5. You literally convert the percentage to the decimal and you just multiply by whatever number I'm taking that. So that would be 0.5 times 8, which is 4. Okay, so what does that mean here? You know, what number is 20% of 230? So 20% of 230 is maybe not as fast, but to me, I can think, oh, okay, so that's 0.2, and I'm going to multiply that by 230. And what does that, become when I go to the calculator? Well, again, all you got to do is you got to put in 0.2 times, and then you type in 230. And you're going to see 46 here. Now, here's the deal. If you're wondering what I do, so the answer to this problem is 46, and that's how I show my work there. But here's the deal. I think of it as 10%. 10% of something, you can always find 10% of something by just moving the decimal place over one spot. So remember, we were converting up ahead by above there by doing 2 decimals, but 10% is just always 1 decimal. So I can do this in my head. Okay, so it's a little extension for those of you who are capable of this. You all are capable of this. I shouldn't have said that, but for those of you who like this method here. So moving this over 1 would make it 23. Well, I've got 2 of those to get to 20%, right? 10% would be 23, so 2 of those would be 46. All right, here's the other thing. If some of you struggle with that one or these next ones, you can always fall back on this. This is something you probably learned a long time ago, but it's is over of equals percent over 100. No shame in using it if you need to, okay? But what it means is it's kind of a nice little visual for how you would set up a proportion. So what number is? That's the thing you don't know. So what number is would be an X. 20%, the percent, whatever's got a percent on it is always up in the upper right, so that would be 20. 100 is always right here because we're taking a percentage out of 100. So the of number is actually 230. So if you like this method, what we're doing here is we're literally just cross multiplying. Takes a little longer to get here, but it is a method that you can kind of fall back on. 100x equals 230 times 20. Well, likewise, how I do this is multiply by 10. So add a 0, 2300, double it, I'm going to get 4600. Divide both sides by the 100, and we get an X value of 2 zeros cancel off. We get 46 using that method there. Okay, so both methods work because this is the other way to think about it. So 80 is 12% of what number? So now you got to understand that we're not finding 12% of 80. I mean, really read through this 80 is 12% of what number? So we're talking about the number 80 being 12% of some number. Well, that some number has to be a much larger number than 80. So the way to kind of show this in an equation would be, hey, we're going to take 12%. That's 0.12 as a decimal. We're going to take 0.12, but what are we taking 0.12 of? Of some number. Like, we don't know what number it is, but we do know that when we take a percent times that number, we would get 80. Likewise, over here, we took 20% of 230 to get something. Well, that something ended up being 46. Well, it's a little, same setup, but a little different here is 12% of something. So all we have to do is divide by the 0.12. So now we take X, and that equals 80 divided by 0.12. So let's see what we get here. 80 divided by 0.12. And that equals 666.67. So 666.67, rounded to 2 decimals there. Again, if you were going to use the proportion here, let me show that in green. That would be so 80 over of, which would be unknown in this scenario. Like, of what number? So unknown. And that equals the 12 over 100. Well, when you cross multiply, you'll get 12x equal to 80 times 100 is 8,000. When we divide by 12, then we will get, ta-da, that number. Okay, so one more. 45 is what percentage of 140? Okay, well, I'm going to tell you right now, if you're really thinking about these scenarios, like, let's go back to this one. What if I said to you, 4 is what percentage of 8? Well, I hope you would say that, well, 4 is half of 8, so it's 50%. Well, how would we get that? We would just take the 4 and we would divide by the 8 and we would get 0.5. I mean, I really want you guys to think about these, quickly if you can. So 45 is what percent of 140? The fastest way to do that is to literally just say, oh, 45, what percentage of 140? If you ever want to know what something is as a percentage of something else, you just divide that out. So what would that be? Okay, 45 divided by 140. Oops. We want to know it like that. So about approximately 32.14% is what that says there. So approximately 32.14%. Now let me not go too fast here. The calculator said 0.3214, right? But this is a decimal, so we want to get it to an actual percentage. Okay, well that says it's almost 1/3. Well, 45 times 2 is 90, plus another one's 135. It is almost 1/3, so it's kind of neat. But you could do it like this. 45 is what percent of 140, and then you would just put the x up here over 100, and then when you cross multiply, you're going to end up getting 140x equals 4,500 divide by 140, divide by 140, and guess what? You'll get 32.14, so you'll get that to come out. So we're going to work on these percentages and get you more confident this chapter. Okay, now I want you to show your teacher, your substitute teacher today, that you have completed the notes, and then I want you to complete worksheet 1, hopefully before the end of the period. Thanks.